When I was in school, we took great delight in calling up the guy that did the Sunday morning classic rock show, and we would request "Shove a Bologna Sandwich Up Your Butt" by Nasal Sex, which is a real song.
Of course, the sponsors that pay LinkedIn the most have the jobs that are the hardest to fill. Underwater welding near crocodile nests. Could this be the career for you?
Be still my heart. That sounds great. Which of the following actors were not considered for the voice of Howard the Duck? A. John Cusack, B. Martin Short, C. Richard Dreyfuss, or D. Jay Leno?
I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Or in this case, rye bread and caraway seeds everywhere like a ticker tape parade drifting all over the place. I guess we should be grateful Wally didn't bring any cocaine.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
So just jump right into it this week because Facebook isn't boring enough to talk about. I get more crap from LinkedIn than any of the websites that I actually care about. But I actually did get one that made me laugh the other day, right? It said, "See who else applied for this position." And it was one where I had already gotten a thanks, but no thanks, right? So basically, here's what LinkedIn was saying. Look who got the job that you didn't get. Great. What's on tap next? A highlight reel of them toasting to their inflated salaries and extra weeks of vacation? Jesus Christ, where's the Prozac?
What an unbelievable waste of time that entire platform is. I guess in keeping with this week's space theme, imagine if you were kidnapped by aliens and they wanted you to explain what LinkedIn is. Well, if HR specialists designed their own virtual playground, it would be this. I mean, think about it. Facebook for the incredibly boring? Next door for the fans of hospital quarters?
These are the people that high five when they're invited to the mandatory shoe safety briefing. I mean, come on. First off, take a look at the comments under resume related articles. It's this crucial banter. I want to use the word streamline to discuss what I did with the home craft segment of my business, but I'm just not sure. Depending on the extent of your work, you may find overhaul to be a better fit for your resume. I'm a fan of bold, forward-thinking language, Ken. How about catalyze? How about I stick a letter opener in my eye? How about that?
Wait a minute. Are we being fair? I mean, it's a hotbed of activity for recruiters, right? Then how come the only direct messages we ever get are about overpriced degree programs or the upcoming trade show on state-of-the-art monitor stands? Seats are going fast. Don't worry, though, because every creepy salesperson you've ever tried to get away from can find you here in a New York minute to reconnect on those opportunities we were discussing. Also, don't forget the anniversary celebration notifications. Congratulations to Bernie on his 22nd year as office manager at Transcontinental Industries. Over 2 decades, and that sumbitch is still ordering toilet paper for a living.
Way to go, Bernie. The articles posted on LinkedIn fall somewhere between Forbes and Mad Magazine. Are overly festive bow ties technically a dress code violation? How to handle the meeting with finesse, tactfulness, and care. How to handle tough interview questions like, where do you see your goldfish in 5 years? And explain your stance on pallet recycling.
How team building saved my company. Who would have thought the Vanguard Taser War obstacle course would save my sales team?
God bless him.
Sure, Dan needed a new pacemaker afterwards, but he had already met his insurance deductible. Talk about a win-win. Of course, the sponsors that pay LinkedIn the most have the jobs that are the hardest to fill. Underwater welding near crocodile nests. Could this be the career for you?
Be still my heart. That sounds great. How about corporate gift-giving council? Forget the pens and the mugs. Ditch the old-fashioned billboard. Your logo belongs on a parachute. Cutting edge and vintage all at the same time.
LinkedIn suggests that I follow Jeff Shuddy, part-time barista, storyteller, podcaster, former monk, Chief Purpose Officer at Meditations Are Us.
Okay.
What in the Jolly Green Giant is a Chief Purpose Officer? Is he the one that figures out what the collate button does on the copier?
God.
Like another recommendation I got, Nurse Blake. Nurse, comedian, singer, songwriter, cat mom, founder of kittennurse.com.
She did not put Cat Mom on her resume. Oh my God.
That's a variety show,
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Since when did hobbies become resume bullet points? I keep waiting for one that says accountant, DJ, emotional support human, amateur falconer, Rasputin impersonator, and bowl of fruit. Available for parties.
God. All right, close it out. 3 words. Worst algorithm ever.
I list podcast host as my job. LinkedIn suggests Nabisco merchandiser.
What the hell? All right.
Apparently, interviewing metal bands qualifies me to stack Oreos at ShopRite.
There you go.
Respect the pivot, though. The product life cycle of the cookie offers endless opportunity.
I guess so. How about the completely fake job listing that had a pretty good over-under odds? It's a loosely veiled pyramid scheme. Write emotionally authentic 1-minute TikToks using AI virality insights for a company called the Aha Store. Look for Operations Manager on LinkedIn, and it offers you an exciting opportunity appraising jewelry. It's only 84 miles away from the city you live in. Sure, I can barely match socks, but by all means, give me a job picking out sapphire hue differences. Try finding procurement specialists on LinkedIn, and you're soon staring at ads for, wait for it, secret agents wanted. Extensive training and a secret government clearance required. A link to the 19-page application is below. Dude, if I had that level of discipline, I wouldn't be job hunting on LinkedIn. Also, yeah, espionage planning starts here. Plenty of candidates through pop-ups between sponsored posts for Glade plugins and gout medication. All right, you want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is with John Weisnewski, the mastermind behind the Seattle-based synth metal project Nuclear Dudes. This is a great one, folks. We get into how the band progressed from COVID project to full-on live band. He talks about what it was like working with drummer Cody Willis of High of Fire and Big Business, the unexpected source for all the cool artwork, and some hilarious stories about making videos. Plus, we go deep into the concepts of saxophone hatred and what constitutes victory pants. So stay tuned for that.
All right, let's play a song. This is Nuclear Dudes with These Machines. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth podcast. And for $6.66 a month, you get an incredibly gaudy, pimped out tricycle full of Mark and Stace.
Yep, we're putting up stuff there all the time, exclusively to our Patreons, so that you can enjoy all kinds of wacky shit that we don't have here.
That's right. The Gary Holt book review is going up this week. And then right behind it, I was cruising through the Marty Friedman book, Dreaming Japanese. But dang it, he just got out of Megadeth, and now it's all Japanese talk. So I hit the brakes a little. I'm hoping to get it done this week, and then maybe the review for that can go up. As you can tell, the Jets have cooled a little bit when we left Megadeth, but we'll see.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single episode, as well as our Instagram and Facebook pages.
Don't forget our other show, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast, which is exactly the same humor, just with death metal. So if you don't like the music, you don't have to listen to it. And speaking of not liking things, I think it's time. Hit it!
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
New levels of not learning this week. Always my goal. Okay, Obnoxious Trivia. Question number 1. Which of the following is true about Food Network show House of Knives? A, the contestants were required to participate in knife fights while their dishes were cooking.
They're dishes.
B.
Oh, dishes.
Dishes. It's a food show.
I see.
Right.
Not like they're cooking their
Uh-uh.
Chinaware.
No. B. The first ever winner was Dumpling Queen Chef Shirley Chung. C. In the final round, contestants must wear steel gauntlets while prepping their meals. And D. Joey DeMaio of Manowar made an appearance on the show. House of Knives.
Seen it. How about C? In the final round, they must wear steel gauntlets while preparing their meals.
Sorry, that is incorrect. It is actually the Dumpling Queen.
The dumpling queen.
Yes. Shirley Chung was the first ever winner. Now, here's the thing. The show was supposed to be a cooking show based on Game of Thrones.
Oh.
And when you win, you get to sit in a Game of Thrones type of chair. And there's something about moving large chess pieces around. I didn't really understand it. But it's hosted by someone from Game of Thrones. So yeah. It's still around. It hasn't been canceled as far as I know. Yeah, I think Joey DeMaio of Manowar, who is working at a Shell station right now, would probably turn that down. So. Okay, number 2. Which of the following actors were not considered for the voice of Howard the Duck? A. John Cusack, B. Martin Short, C. Richard Dreyfuss, or D. Jay Leno?
Not considered.
Howard the Duck.
I'm going to say Richard Dreyfuss. He sounds least unduck-like.
Very good. Ding, ding, ding. You got it. Now, there's sort of a Mandela effect. A lot of people think Richard Dreyfuss was Howard the Duck because he sounds like him and he kind of looks like him. But yeah, Martin Short, John Cusack, Jay Leno, and there were some more that really wanted to be the voice of Howard the Duck.
Oh.
But they ended up giving it to some guy. I don't remember what his name.
Goals, people. You got to have your goals.
Yeah, the movie got genuinely bad reviews from critics at the time of release. Okay, so you're 1-1. Number 3. According to the website theoakwitch.com, how can pagans and witches negatively impact the environment? Is it A, flushing candle wax down the toilet, B, purchasing Eye of Newt without a certificate of authenticity, C, performing conjurings during cockfights, or D, failing to recycle used dragon scales?
Dragon scales are not real. I'll go with just the plainest one. A, flushing candle wax down the
You're
toilet.
on fire today.
Wow.
Ding, ding, ding. Look at you. Yeah, I had a feeling that was too easy, but okay. All right.
So it's like, first of all, Eye of Newt always comes with a certificate of acid.
Well,
So
if you know what you're doing.
but I'm doing
I
it.
mean, duh, right? So, okay. Anyway. All right, number 4. Which of the following facts about Don Knotts is not true? A, he once took a job plucking chickens before making it big as an actor. B, he joined the Army in 1943 and became part of a GI variety show called Stars and Gripes. C, he got his start performing as a ventriloquist with a dummy named Danny. Or D, he appeared on the Carol Burnett Show in 1980 for a spoof sketch called Don Knotts Landing.
I'll go with D, because I don't ever remember him on the Carol Burnett Show.
Very good. You got 3 out of 4 today. Wow, yeah.
On fire.
I thought Don Knotts Landing would have been a great sketch, but no,
Remember something about him was a ventriloquist, and also the part about I know he was in the Army, and I don't know, plucking chicken sounded like.
See, I thought I would confuse you with that one because remember it was him and Tim Conway did those stupid movies together with the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yeah.
So that's Carol Burnett adjacent, but he was never actually on her show.
Yeah, we used to watch that every week. I don't ever remember him being on.
I loved Carol Burnett. All right, it's time for our Snaggletooth, and this one's called
Attention Rocket Science Department. During the Gemini 3 mission, astronauts Wally Schirra and John Young made history. Not space history, deli history. Wally smuggled a corned beef sandwich into orbit. Yeah. A fully trained astronaut looked at a multi-million-dollar experimental mission and thought, carry-out from the tip-top deli would go over so well.
Now, to be fair, NASA food at the time was basically edible caulk. Kind of like chicken-flavored Go-Gurt in a tube, just add water. But the sandwich was worse than just technically contraband party food. The whole mission included testing food specifically designed for space. Except Wally shows up like, nah, I brown bagged it today. Then came the problems nobody thought of. Floating debris.
Crumbs in zero gravity don't fall. They drift. Right into switches, vents, electrical panels. Basically the galaxy's crummiest snow globe inside a spacecraft. I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Or in this case, rye bread and caraway seeds everywhere like a ticker tape parade drifting all over the place. I guess we should be grateful Wally didn't bring any cocaine.
Suddenly, these rocket scientists. See, the thing is, they really were rocket scientists. I'm not just saying it, you know. Anyway, they decided perhaps this was a bad idea, and they stuck the sandwich away. But the damage was already done. Evidence continued to float around like joint smoke in a car, and the smell. Gemini capsules were tiny and sealed tight. Once that corned beef aroma got loose, that was it. No windows, no Febreze, no crack a hatch. Like, you like the smell of your lunch? How about nothing else for a week?
Ground control was not amused. The incident got nicknamed the $40 million picnic. It even triggered a congressional hearing. Imagine explaining that to taxpayers. Yes, Senator, the spacecraft functioned perfectly. The problem was getting the million crumb cleanup after. NASA promised stricter rules after that. No unauthorized deli meats in orbit.
Probably a suit pat down policy, too. Commander, is that a flashlight in your pocket? It looks suspiciously like a meatball sub. Remember, in space, no one has Grey Poupon. In 2003, China launched its first manned spaceflight, Shenzhou 5. Huge milestone. Astronaut Yang Lewei is up there doing serious astronaut business when he starts to hear knocking.
Not subtle, knock knock, who's there either. Real knocking, like something wants in. He described it like a wooden hammer hitting an iron bucket, which is oddly specific and super ominous. The creepiest part? He said it didn't seem to come from inside or outside the spacecraft. Wait, was something invisible trying to get out? At that point, you're not thinking about space station stuff anymore.
You're thinking, Jehovah's Witness? Amway recruiter? How did they get into orbit? And there's more. Later Chinese missions, Shenzhou 6 and 7 reported the same thing. So Lewei's probably back on Earth like, I told you bitches, and you just kept sending me for therapy.
The most accepted explanation is thermal expansion. The spacecraft heats up, cools down, materials flex, you get knocking sounds, which I guess makes sense scientifically. But emotionally, it still feels like something asking to come in and sell you a vacuum. Lewei couldn't recreate the sound for engineers after, so it stayed one of those semi-explained space oddities.
Well, I wouldn't be able to do it a straitjacket either. These days, veteran Chinese astronauts actually brief new crews about it. Basically, welcome aboard, you'll hear knocking, totally normal. Also, whatever you do, do not open the door, because if alien movies taught us anything, it's this. If you're alone in space and something knocks, curiosity is how we pave the way for 5 more sequels. Okay, I can't take any more. Let's play a song. This is Nuclear Dudes with Bat Body. Okay, let's talk about imperfect foods.
Imperfect Food is this great grocery service. They've really expanded since combining with Misfit Markets. They are one now, and we get the best stuff from them. Sometimes we go down rabbit holes, and we end up, in fact, we got some spicy mayonnaise from Ahoy. Yeah? Ahoy?
They were grilled
Hello.
rabbit. They were grilled rabbit holes, weren't they?
Yes, grilled rabbit holes. But
Can't get that in the grocery store.
we got some spicy mayonnaise we absolutely loved. I ended up going to the company and
I
paying
wanted
$50.
to like make them a sponsor.
They actually have some great products. We got hooked on some Mexican sodas on there.
I really like their meat sticks. They have this like jalapeno meat sticks. They're really good because you get them from the grocery store. They're not nearly as good as the ones from Perfect. Yeah.
We actually got some spicy chips this week.
Yeah.
They always have great snacks. We also enjoy their meats. Plus, they're small portions, so it's right for us. You can get butter, eggs, beans. You can get wine now, a variety of beverages, just stuff you don't see in your everyday grocery store, including even things like venison or ground lamb. We've enjoyed so many products from those. And I always look forward to trying new stuff from them. Use our link. It will save you off your first order, and you too can get delicious snacks, meats, pantry staples, wine even delivered right to your door.
Okay. It is time. Collecturbation this week. We're going to talk about a very special compilation, and Stacy's going to tell you all about it.
This is 30 Seconds Over DC with Here Comes the New Wave, 1978. While many of our younger viewers may never experience it, the era of college radio is a time I remember vividly. I was also a DJ.
That's right, you were.
DJs at the schools took shifts and had carte blanche to pay basically whatever they wanted until the nuns shut me off in the cafeteria.
I know, and still the dreams come.
It was these informal radio station setups that eventually led to the discovery of bands like REM, Sonic Youth, and the Pixies.
The Pixies were not getting any airplay in 1989. I don't care what Stranger Things tells you. No. That's revisionist history at its best. Anyway, when I was in school, we took great delight in calling up the guy that did the Sunday morning classic rock show, and we would request Shove a Bologna Sandwich Up Your Butt by Nasal Sex, which is a real song. That's actually an album. Or I'm Working for the Federal Bureau of Narcotics by Wildman Fisher. I had to go from dorm room to dorm room and call him so that he would answer the phone because he knew me. Anyway. So, true story, I was having a couple of beers with this dude named Craig that lived on my floor one night, and he mentioned that he had to leave early because in the morning, he had a double shift at the radio station. I didn't even know he was a DJ, right? So we had just gotten done talking about AC/DC, For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, which is a really underrated album because it came right after Back in Black, but it's got great production and Mutt Lange, a lot of good songs. I asked him, could he play a song on his show the next day? He said, sure, and I forgot all about it, right? Anyway, so then the next day, I go over to the student union to get some dinner, and it was like 4 or 5, something like that. I'm waiting in line to get a sandwich, and I noticed that the atmosphere in the lunchroom was, shall we say, tense. I couldn't figure out why, and then all of a sudden, I heard on the speaker, Spellbound from AC/DC was playing, and I was like, cool, he did. He played part of the record. That's great. The song ends. And that's when I heard Craig's voice, and he goes, hey, that's our 9th time spinning AC/DC's 1981 record. For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. And it goes out to my friend Mark. Let's hear it again. And when that ding, ding, dun, 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 when that started up again, I could feel the blood pressure of the entire cafeteria going up. So I got out of line, sprinted upstairs where the radio station was, found Craig, and he was like, hey, what's up, man? And I said, listen, thanks for doing this. But the kids in the cafeteria are for those about to lynch a DJ right now. They're going to get the ropes and the torches if you play any more of this. Anyway.
It was this kind of unhinged freedom that led to records like this one. 30 Seconds Over DC is a compilation featuring 16 new wave bands from the DC and Northern Virginia area from the late 70s. It's like a Polaroid. Just before Ian MacKaye and Jeff Nelson started up the Discord label, which would become synonymous with the DC hardcore scene shortly thereafter. The label was founded by DJ and record store owner Skip Groff in Rockville, Maryland in 1978. His store, Yesterday and Today Records, was a hang for local musicians and even visiting foreign bands that would perform there. I've described some of the music on this comp as delightfully amateurish to friends, and almost all of them are one-offs. There are a few with decent potential, however, and they deserve to be brought back to life on YouTube Land by Mark and Stace. First of all, there's the Penetrators, who bring us their lone single, The Break, a track with some pretty fancy guitar licks for such an obscure band. How weird is it that there are 2 bands called the Penetrators? Remember the one from Syracuse that played this style? And sadly, nobody's heard of them either.
That's right. The other one is better, the one from Syracuse. And I recommend Basement Anthology. It's on John Rice's label.
Let's play a clip. This is Penetrators with The Break.
All right, one of the weirdest tracks present on this thing comes from a band called Mock Turtle. Great name. Great name. A band that put out, I think, one other single before vanishing forever. Here we get random guitar strums, Devo, adjacent keyboards, and some funhouse spoken word weirdness from single member Zach Johnson. I also really like the Slicky Boy song, Attitude. They were one of the few bands that kind of stuck around and stood the test of time. They were like the Capitals' take on the Dictators, and the vocalist Martha Hall has always reminded me of Handsome Dick Manitoba. Honestly, I could listen to this thing all day long. It's all over the map. Chumps bring us Jet Lag Drag, which coasts along on some spy theme riff and a saxophone that's almost in tune. The Nurse's I Can Explain literally reminds me of the folk group that used to play in church when I used to go to mass in the basement as a boy. Except here there's no hosannas or beatitudes. The band Judy's Fixation were barely together long enough to finish your sandwich.
In orbit.
See how we link everything together? Yeah. But their contribution, Martyr Me, is a decent take on aggressive punk reminiscent of the Ramones. Jad Fair from Half Japanese, his contribution here, I Want Something New, maybe the highlight of the whole thing. It's a splendid glimpse into the unhinged, untuned, barely musical journey his band would bring for years to come. One of these days, I'll have to drag out Half Gentleman, Not Beast for you to torture you all in a future episode.
And of course, we get the inspiration for the record, Stay Limp, featuring the duo of Blind Me Tasty and Chuck Gruber, of course, laying down some minimalist jangling guitar pop that may be the only song I've ever heard about avoiding sexual stimulation. You gotta hear this one. At any rate, file this one in the Outsider section next to Spider-Man Reflections of a Rock Superhero and maybe the Kleenex compilation.
Both of which have been reviewed by us on this show.
If you're playing along at home.
Yep.
And remember to keep coming back for more of the weird, the obscure, and the borderline pointless right here at Snaggletooth. This next one could have been called For Those About to Be Flaccid. Let's play a clip. This is Stay Limp.
Cramped. Stay limp. When they show you their thighs, da-da-da-da-da, don't let it rise. Stay limp. Avoid excitation, distract erectile action, veto reaction, and keep your trouser snake in traction. Stay limp.
All right, you want to introduce the interview?
This is our great interview with Nuclear Dudes founder. If you haven't checked out their videos, they're really something worth checking out.
Very different. Yep.
All of these albums have come rather rapid clip. If you haven't checked out Truth Paste as well, another great one, as well as the album we're about to talk about here. But yeah, what a great guy.
Take it away.
What is the worst pronunciation of your name you have ever heard? And hopefully it wasn't us.
My last name?
Yes.
It probably goes back to elementary school. I got a lot of Wiskinski, and I think the probably the worst one was Puskiwi. I don't know how the kid put a P in there.
Wow.
But
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
yeah.
We always have a hard time if it's like some Polish band and they're great, but I have no idea what the umlauts do. And I'm like, we always do a disclaimer. We know we're killing this.
Yeah.
Right. There's
It's
no
all
way to
good.
study up on it, you know.
The best is in the some grocery stores, you buy your groceries and the person checking out that they have like a policy where they like look at your receipt and they like, thank you, Mr. Whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I get a decent amount of like the people they grab my receipt and they're like, oh, thank you, Mr. And then they just stop and they look at it. And it's enough of a pause where I could just say, it's all right. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Don't worry about it. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah. You're like, that's definitely your cat litter. Okay.
For
Yeah.
doctor's office, I
Totally.
do a lot of you're next. You, hun, you're next.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you started as a one-man lockdown project. So what kind of was the spark that headed you down this road?
At the very beginning, it was just just sitting in my house, like it like you wait, if you're like me, there's a lot of musicians out there like me who I never took it for granted. And at the same time, I didn't know what my life was like without have going to band practice. Like
Yeah.
go to you go to band practice like every week for years, like almost my whole life. And then suddenly it didn't happen. And it was like, well, I learned that my brain gets really sad if I don't have that in my life. And so it was just a matter of figuring out how to try to maintain that. And so it really started as like, well, I want to keep writing songs. I want to keep collaborating with my band. Um, I'm just gonna pull out my laptop and figure out GarageBand and just do some home recording and make sure that we still have this thing we do together. And then once I figured out GarageBand, it clicked. It was like, oh, I can do a whole bunch of stuff at home by myself. And like
Yeah.
there was still, at that time we still had a good like 2 years before the the vaccine ended up getting released. And so yeah,
Right.
it was just more just to keep myself entertained at home while we
Yeah.
were all stuck.
Yeah.
So did you have electric power violence in mind, or did it kind of just evolve as you messed around?
It definitely started with like I wanted it to just be really short, fast metal songs. And then I just started playing with synths a little bit. And once I started playing with synths, and adding that to the project, then it like sort of like turned into what it's become, which is, synth metal hybrid.
Yeah, I love the album title Bad Asleep. I wasn't sure if you meant you wake up every hour on the hour and think it's time to get up, or you injure yourself during your sleep, which is equally horrible.
Yeah, no, I've had some form of insomnia most of my life, and so I'm just bad at sleeping. I'm not good at
Gotcha.
it.
All right. Well, what about the name Nuclear Dudes? Like it's got that cool, like science-y feel, rock and roll science-y feel. Like where did the name come from?
It's like electric violence, but also Bill Nye.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's a band name that came to me many, many years ago, and I've always had it in my back pocket. Like someday I'll do a band and call it Nuclear Dudes, and the vibe has to be right. Um, and after this project started going, it felt like the vibe was correct to call it Nuclear Dudes.
That's great. We
Yeah,
have one in our back pocket, Skank Fragment. We're going to use it at some
there
point.
you go. There
So
you
yeah,
go.
it's genreless, so that's why we like it. So yeah.
Oh, really love the album art. It immediately brought back when I took child and adolescent psychology and they were talking about the tadpole people. Oh, look, we have such a
Yeah,
thing
we
right
have, look
here.
at that. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Um, and uh, and then I saw it was kind of done by Cooper. I'm guessing that's your son.
That's my boy. Um, yeah,
He's got some skills. Yeah.
he does. Yeah,
Yeah.
the all the album covers came from there was like a Halloween season a long time ago now. I think he's like four-ish or five-ish, and he just started drawing monsters on blank pieces of paper. And they were just so cool. Uh, really weird, bizarre interpretations of like skeletons and bugs and zombies and just crazy weird stuff. And the proportions are all fucked. Like if you look at that one, the skeletal blasphemy stuff, he's got like wobbly arms and then like hand, feet, and all the fingers and toes are like these. It's just like I could never draw that. An adult could never just like think to do that. And I love how
Yeah.
the rib cage is just this like series of hoops. Um,
Yeah.
and they're just so cool. And so I saved them all. I grabbed a scan of like every single one of these monsters he did. I've got album covers for a while. But yeah, I fucking love those things. I think it's kind of cheesy when people like use their kids' artwork, but I don't care. Like, 'cause I think it's cool.
No, it's great. Like once I listened to your music and really got it, I looked at the art again and I'm like, it's almost Voivody in a way if you look at it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. Like I had to hear it first before my brain went there. I was like, wait a minute. So yeah.
What does he think of the music itself? Your son.
He's actually a really helpful barometer when I'm writing music. So I take him to school in my car every day, and when I'm actively writing an album or some songs, I'll just save off MP3s so I can like hear how the mix is coming and like different speaker sets. So sometimes I'll play the songs in the car on the way to school, and he'll just give me really like brutal great, honest
Yeah.
feedback. He'll tell me when something is not sounding good at all to him.
That's great.
And his reasons for it are like not refined. They're not music snobby at all. They come purely just from like emotional reaction.
That's great.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I think his feedback has actually been like legitimately very helpful.
Might have to get him some writing credits on the next one.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
He doesn't have any, there's no politics. That's what it is. He has no politics yet. So that's,
No.
you may never
Yeah.
have that kind of feedback again. That's the thing.
Yeah.
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 So on past releases, you've teamed up with guest vocalists like Brandon. This time you decided to go with Cody. What kind of made you go that direction on this album?
I mean, so I've known Cody for a long time. I've respected Cody for even longer. He's a phenomenal player. Every single band he's been in has been a band that I've greatly enjoyed. And then when he did a post to his socials a couple years ago saying that he had a drum studio set up and that he was taking session work. And I had been wanting to do a collaboration with a real drummer on this project for quite some time. And then I saw that and it was just like, well, yeah, of course I'm gonna do a record with Cody. Like, of course.
Yeah.
like what a gift. And so
Yeah.
I just reached out to him. I was like, hey man, yeah, I'll hire you for some session work. Let's do a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was super cool with it. And we sort of like we approached it like pretty loose and like not non-committal. Not really sure how it was gonna go. And then once it got rolling, it turned out to be really cool and like worked really well into both of our schedules as well. So yeah, it just happened.
I like how he jumped right on board with the cranial accessories, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the goggles and the whole bit. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this one comes, just months after Truth Paste, which is also awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
So what kind of brought this productivity out of you, or was it just kind of a creative jot, or did the ideas just form so quickly?
I worked on 3 albums at once, all at the same time. So the last three, I started each one of them in 2023. And it was Compression Crimes, sort of like the synthwave, like full on synth musical experimentation one. And it was Truth Paste because I wanted to write an album that I could do live with Brandon. And then like the thing with Cody just sort of like happened. Like that's when he put his post out and that's when we started talking and it was like, well, I can't let this opportunity go by. So I'm gonna work on this one too. And so, yeah, it made each one take a little bit longer to finish, but they all kind of finished at the same time. I spent a lot of money mixing and mastering these records all in the same window. But then, yeah, and then so they were all kind of done. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know. I was just gonna release them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
was like working with Earsplit PR, and I was asking Liz, I was like, is it okay if I just release these back to back? And she's like, I don't see why not. I was like, all right, well, let's just do that then, because
It's cool.
I'm yeah, I don't really want to sit on it, right? I want to just get it out there and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, I like your Bandcamp tagline. We were told there would be cake. That's right up our alley. It made me
Yeah.
think of The Office for a minute. Is there a
Yeah.
story behind that, or it was just something that you thought was funny?
I think it's a lyric I pulled from one of the early songs. Yeah, it's probably a lyric. Like a lot of the lyrics are pretty irreverent and like just funny to me in the moment when I'm writing it, and that's kind of where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I loved on Truth Paste, you kind of had more of the electronic blast beats, and now it's kind of a noticeable shift away from that. Was that a decision on your part, or was it Cody's influence?
That was just Cody doing what he does. Uh I didn't it was important to me to not have strong direction on the drums because I've always been such a fan of Cody and I just wanted him to be himself on the record. And so I gave as little direction as possible on the songs, just, basically only when there was like a part of a song or a section that could maybe be confusing about the intent of the tone, I would just provide enough context to be like, this is the vibe of this part. and that was about it. And I just kind of let him do his thing. So that's why it's a little bit different. Like with the other albums, the drums is all my brain. I'm just programming all that shit. And then yeah, this was a whole other person, so it's a whole other interpretation, which I personally love. I think it's awesome.
Which track when Cody did his thing, which one like really knocked you back the most when you first heard what his drums to your music?
The first two on the record. So I think Skeletal Blasphemy. The reason that one is the title track is because that's the first one he sent back where I was like, oh my God, it's just as good as I thought it was going to be. Oh my God,
Right.
like so happy. And then the second one, Fully Clothed and Still Afraid. When I heard his drumming on that one, it was just like, wow,
Yeah.
this is special. It just like it gave me chills. Hearing it back just gave me chills. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
And that's a good one to build the tension. You can almost feel the anxiousness. It'll make you anxious if you listen to it a few times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your synths give me serious like didgeridoo vibes. What's the most unusual non-instrument that you've ever used in one of your tracks?
Oh. I think the most unusual sound I've done is on your iPhone, you can record slow motion video. So I made a recording on my iPhone in slow motion, and I just made a really low noise with my mouth and then played it back, and in slow-mo it like slowed it down, like totally like distorted it and warped it. And that's in one of the tracks.
Oh wow.
We did that accidentally on our TikTok. It was supposed to be us dancing, and we accidentally did it in slow motion. It was so weird. It was like my hair is going, wah.
That's hilarious.
Not what we were going for. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that. Anti-sax is one of those that has such great synth swells to it and kind of the megaphone style vocals. And what was kind of the vision behind that, or was it just anti-saxophone?
Well, yeah, that's the lyrical theme of the song. Is I'm pre-apologize to any fans of the saxophone out there, but I just don't find it an appealing sounding instrument, and I just don't like it. And so yeah, I'm anti-sax, and the sort of the musical experiment with that song was, so with the songs on the record, they all started with a very, very simple synth MIDI track that Cody played drums to. And the idea was, I wonder how much mileage we can get out of like a really, really extremely simple, stupid synth melody that repeats for a very long time. And I kind of just, and that's the bit at the end where it's like da 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 da, and the big guitars like, but before it was any of that, it was just a little like bump 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 bump. And if you listen to the track, you can hear that underneath everything. And that's what I gave Cody, and I was just like, hey, play to this. And it's like it goes on for a long time. I was like, just play to it until you get bored, and then we'll cut the song there. And so that was kind of the experiment. And that's what he did. He just sort of like played a beat on top of it and put some fills in there, and he sent it back. And I was like, all right, now I have the job of like making a song out of this thing that repeats over and over again.
In a couple of years, you're going to have like some TikTok from some kid in the Philippines who's going to play that on sax for you at double speed.
I know.
It's going to happen. So
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I love the video too. I see you got your Goodalax white hazmat suits.
Right?
What did you do with the literally headlights?
Yeah, that was the concept for that video was the director Whitey McConaughey. He was excited about doing a video for that song, and it was basically like I had to apologize to him, but I had no money for a video. I had no budget. All I have is like time and enthusiasm, and so that's what we could do on a really tight budget. But it turns out those constraints ended up producing something really cool. And so basically he was like, well, I've got this old this old video camera from like the 80s, and it's kind of broken, and it doesn't handle bright light very well, especially in a dark space. And so he just came up with this idea of like let's build a black box out of a practice space. We use Cody's practice space room, make all the walls black. We built this like weird lighting rig. We had some help from his lighting friends in the sort of in the industry, um, and it was all about contrast, right? Like he wanted to have like bright suits with like black background, and then like the bright colored backgrounds. That was actually a projection, that was not effects or anything. And then so like I had my ski goggles, and I was like, why do I really want to wear these ski goggles? And he's like, that's fucking stupid. There's no way we're gonna do that. Um, but then it was like, well, unless we could like light them up somehow. And then one of his lighting friends was like, well, I have these stick-on lights and we could put those on there. And he's like, okay, that might work. And then he's like, okay, Cody, maybe you should get some goggles too. We'll get some lights in there or something. And like, so Cody got the goggles, and then he brought some lights that he rigged in there. And then it turned like once we saw a couple test shots of the lights on the goggles, it was like making all these streaks and stuff. And
Yeah.
it totally became a thing in the videos. Like, oh my god, that's so cool. But yeah, I think all the look of the video, the art direction, the idea, the concept, all that stuff was Whitey. Yeah, he's amazing. I think if anyone out there ever gets a chance to work with him, like do it at all
That's
costs.
great. I would have kept pushing. I would have been like, Whitey, I want to wear these scuba flippers. What can you do for me? Just keep going with it,
I would have played guitar in boxing gloves.
Exactly. Right.
Cody was probably just relieved he wasn't in the shower like Brandon.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna have to be naked for this, right?
No, that's so funny. So I was gonna like I edited that video together as just like, as you can tell, it's very low quality and pretty shitty. So I made that one, and Brandon, I was like, Brandon, you got to send me footage of like just I don't know, just I need footage of you. Like I want you to be in the video, so like do whatever you want. And then he was like not sending me stuff, and we were getting closer and closer to the deadline. And I was like, hey man, I've got like a weekend to edit this thing. And he was on a road trip with his wife, and
Oh, geez.
he's like, all right, I'll figure something out. And so he sent me like shots of him like drinking at weird hotel bars and like showering in some gross hotel on the road. Like, so yeah, that's
Oh my
that's
God.
what that is.
That's great.
I also love Victory Pants with that kind of sizzle cymbal and rattling synths. It's really great also in building the tension. The songs in this album almost seem like they're designed around dramatic builds. Do you usually start by chasing a mood, or does it kind of naturally evolve as things go on?
It's pretty impulsive. Yeah, it's usually just like, sitting down on the laptop. Usually, a song will let it start with like I'll get an idea for like just a part of it, like a riff or a melody or rhythm or something, and we'll just sort of like arrive. Uh, and usually the thing that when I know I need to like write it down or like make a voice recording of it is when it like won't go away, when I'm like just fixating on it. And then I can build a song around just that one thing. So that's one way that happens. And sometimes it happens where I just kind of improvise on the laptop a little bit and can usually land on something that feels interesting.
What do you think Victory Pants would look like?
I think so. I think victory pants are whatever the pants that you like. Everyone's got like their good pants, right? They're like the ones that you wear on like when you're gonna have a big day, where
Yeah.
you're gonna see some people that like these people mean a lot to me, You got your good
Yeah.
pants. You probably got your good
Yeah.
shirt too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everyone's got their pair of pants. It's like, no, those are my pants when I
Victory
need things to
pants.
go right for me, like or if I
Exactly.
put on my victory
Yeah.
pants.
About the way my daughter got married this fast, I had like a real pretty green dress and I got my toes done green and they were a little more day glow than I thought. He's like, you've got overkill toenails. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. It was the overkill green. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
So another one that really got me was the octopus because I was trying to think if you did the way those synths undulate, you can see like that Jacques Cousteau footage of the octopus swimming. Did
Yeah.
it come like the synths made you think of the octopus, or were you looking at an octopus when you did those?
No, the octopus came after the song was written. I really like that one. That was one where there's a couple songs on the record where Cody had some beats that he had recorded in his studio to no music, just a drum beat. Um, and I was like, "Will you send me those?" And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yes, send me those." And so that one was a very weird beat, and I didn't know really what to do with it. And the first half of the octopus was written for another project. And then I just opened that file and I took Cody's drum beat and I just like dropped it in there.
Wow.
It sounded awful. It didn't work at all. But I was like, I think I have like two different songs in here, but I could maybe, and it was just became like a weekend. I sort of like just sat there and like really worked on it to see if I could get it to come together. And then it like clicked and I think it totally works. So I just really like that song because it was such a surprise. But it's just like it's weird. It's kind of purposefully weird because it has to be because it's like different ideas that weren't meant to be together. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Surprisingly listenable, I think.
And now that you say that, it does kind of seem like there's like the intro and then it kind of develops into something else, but it's really effective. Especially in the car, it's like so ominous and you're like, "Roar."
Yeah.
Um, so I also love Bad Boy. I kind of love that surfy, groovy drum pattern before it kind of descends into those vocals and distorted synths. Um, so we were trying to figure out how you kind of altered your voice. I think you guessed Cuisinart, didn't you?
Something like that.
What,
Yeah.
what kind of different things do you use to kind of alter it? Is it always the same or is it just whatever's right in the moment?
I use a ton of vocal effects. Fun.
Yeah.
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 There's like pitch shifters, there's distortion, there's vocoders, there's like yeah, all kinds of modulators and stuff. Yeah.
Well, you're set if you ever want to be deep throat for sure.
Well,
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So you're the lead designer at a game studio.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about using your music in like one of the soundtracks, or you think you get away with that, or
Oh,
would that be a
totally
corporate
wouldn't.
decision?
Yeah, I wouldn't get away with it. That's something that's out of my hands. I'd obviously love to. I would love
Yeah.
to work on a game or add music to a game in some capacity. But yeah, usually I'm lucky that I get to work on pretty big budget games at like large studios, and they usually have a whole audio department and they hire composers, and it's a whole thing. So
Yeah. I know it's a huge industry. I know. Yeah.
yeah.
So, has working on Nuclear Dunes changed the way you approach your other project, Sand Rider, or do those two worlds stay completely separate?
Yeah, they stay pretty separate. I think I really do like collaborating with other people. And so I get a lot of fulfillment out of Nuclear Dudes, but there's no replacement for playing music and writing music with, people that mean a lot to you and people who are, very talented. So, they stay pretty separate. And I think the more I do one, the more the other one sort of calls to me, right? So, I think having a mix of the two is really good.
Maybe that's why you can't sleep. They're always bugging you.
No, it's
Well,
other stuff.
now that you got Brandon, you've got to be thinking like, so what's your, like what's your Mount Rushmore if you could get anyone to collaborate with? Like, who would you pick?
Oh my God, what a crazy question. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would love to. I mean, I guess this is like throwing some shit out there into the world, but I would love to do like some more like ambient synthy atmospheric stuff with somebody like Mike Scheidt from Yob or like Steve Von Till. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
I would love to do more like grindy, crazy stuff with like another person who I actually have hired for a little bit of drum session work is Ben Collar from Converge.
Oh, wow.
He does drum session stuff, and um, I haven't really like worked on that stuff since he did some drum tracking, and as probably won't for a long time. Um, yeah, I don't know. think that's my short list of like collaborators that would be amazing. But I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of musicians that I love and would be stoked to work with.
Yeah.
I would pick Lady Gaga for you if I had to pick.
Oh my God. Well, actually, on that note, Saint Vitus is actually like she does some really cool, crazy stuff that would be, I think, maybe complementary to something a little bit more abrasive, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally.
So I was wondering, I was listening to Taste Like Medicine and the lyrics are great. But some artists I've talked to said when they have a melody, they sing absolute nonsense over it and words come to it later. Do you work like that or do the lyrics come right away?
I do work like that. Yeah, the lyrics are usually like the last thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I could totally hear you. Scat, skid, scat, and then eventually coming through with it. So while we're at, your beauty regimen, what hair products do you use on that infamous hair?
Uh, Nothing. Um, it's
No
this is
endorsements. Yeah.
this is just filth and grime. This is the magic of no product. It's just dirt.
I think you're the second person with gorgeous curly hair that's told us that.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, who came up with the idea with the "Who Killed Jessica Rabbit" samples that were sprinkled in?
That was me. That was me, but that's kind of an inside joke between Brandon and I because that line, "Oh my God, it's Dip," is just
Yeah.
like that's just been an inside joke between us for a long time. So, and then we had that song coming together, and there's that like break in there, and I was like, "Oh my God, what if I put the fucking Jessica Rabbit thing like right in that moment?" And then when I got the sample and I put it in there, not only was it spaced perfectly, like it fills the gap perfectly, but when she goes that high register she hits with her voice, like happened to also be the key of the song.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, oh, it just fucking came together. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're brave because to me it would be like that would be Warner Brothers lawyers and Disney's lawyers all banging on my door if we make any money on this. So,
It's a risk.
that's a lot
It's
of
a risk for
lawyers.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like he's got to get back.
So, will you see more videos for skeletal blasphemy or?
Probably not. Probably not. I'm already working on the next thing.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
All right, so I know you're pressed for time. We'll go right into our game then.
All right. Thank you.
I
Appreciate
have
it.
100 questions in front of me, but don't worry, you're only going to answer 5. So I want you to
Okay.
pick 5 questions between 1 and 100.
Oh, pick the numbers now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go 16, 22, 41, 89, and we'll do question 100, the last one.
16. What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever done to win a bet? Truth or dare counts.
To win a bet. Once I bet, it's not really like super ridiculous. It's just fun. Once I made a bet with another game developer on who could. We were both working on the same game, Destiny, and I had made I was a weapons designer for that game. I had made a gun called the Graviton Lance. He was working on a new gun called the Polaris Lance, and so we made a bet which lance would be the best lance. Um, and but it was so we basically had to work with a player of the game who had no opinions or no allegiance to either one of us, and asked them to be the final decider of like which lance was the better lance. And my lance won. My lance is the better
Good
lance.
for you.
Yeah.
He was thusly knighted Sir Lancelot.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and you picked 22. Have you ever tripped in public and been caught?
Tripped on stage many times.
Oh gosh.
So yeah,
Oh, wow.
not only in public, but like in front of a group of people who are actively watching me.
Very rock and roll. Yeah.
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 Right, and you picked 41. If you could have someone take over one ridiculous job in your life, what would it be? Scooping cat litter counts.
Oh my God. Yes. That's one I do not like. Um, I also do not like unloading the dishwasher. Um, I think if there's a good one here. I may come back to this one. For now, let's go with the cat litter.
I had a patient who said she took in cats. She had 22 cats and she had someone come in twice a day to scoop the litter for her. She paid
Yeah.
some.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, that might be a good idea. That might happen in this house.
Oh,
We have
here,
5,
okay.
so
I got it. I got it. Here's the job I would have somebody do. So I didn't know this when you become a dad, but a thing that happens when you become a dad is there's something changes in your mind and your brain and your impulses, and it becomes impossible for you to let food go to waste anywhere in your vicinity. Um, and I also I make lunch for my son a lot, or I'll make sandwiches, and I'm usually the one who's looking at the heels in the bread bag at the end of the bread bag. Um, and I feel really feels really wrong to me to throw away the heels. So I would like somebody to come and just eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich made just of heels that I make, so that I don't have to throw away the heels, but I don't want to eat it because yeah, just a just healed sandwich is
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
they're always good for French toast. You can
There
always
you
you can
go.
always
Yeah.
salvage them in French toast.
I was in a hurry one day. I sent my daughter a peanut butter sandwich for lunch. You would have thought I sent like mustard gas to school. I mean, I got all these notes back. We had to have a meeting about it. It was just,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, they're not messing around with the nut managed zones anymore.
Good.
Nope.
Yeah, it was bad.
Right. 89. What is the funniest Halloween costume you've ever worn?
It was Rainbow Bright once.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but like short little sexy skirt with like the pigtails and the wand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Great. I would
I
have.
try only to get in drag like every 5 years because I enjoy it way too much, you know. So yeah.
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 And you picked 100. If there was an amusement park filled only with the rides that you hate, what will be included?
I mean any spinning ride that makes you nauseous. Not into that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
anything that's gonna make me barf.
As I get older, I can do roller coasters all day, but if it turns you and does this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Oh, there is an amusement park filled with rides that I hate. That only I hate. It's Storybook Land at Disneyland, the one with all the little kid rides.
Oh yeah.
I've taken my son there many times. When he was little, that's like we'd be like, "Sweet, we're going to Disneyland," but we're spending the whole day in Storybook Land, and we're doing Peter
Oh.
Pan, and we're doing, the fucking Casey on his train, and the dog. Ugh, God, terrible. What a
Yeah.
waste of money that is for an adult. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you get to buy some overpriced food.
Yes, yes, and then of course
Yeah.
you have to buy the gift shop stuff and the T-shirts and the hats,
Oh,
and yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Lord. Worst racket ever.
Yeah. Wallet acting me.
So how did the release party go back in November? And now that you're playing live shows, how do the tracks translate to stage for you?
The the only one we do live is Truth Paste, and I think it tracks pretty well. So it's basically all the pre-recorded stuff with no vocals or guitar, and then Brandon and I do vocals live, and I play guitar live. It translates pretty well. There's usually technical difficulties though, because there's a large amount of PA gear that has to power the backing tracks, and it takes a long time to set up and tear down. And there's a lot of wires, um, and I, and it's a lot of really really cheap Chinese technology. So a lot of the plugs don't work. There's like some plugs where you have to like plug a wire in and then like pull it really tight so it's like at an angle,
Right.
and then like
Right.
wrap it around something so that it doesn't move.
Yeah.
A lot of that bullshit going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we look forward to more coming from your camp since it sounds like you got a lot cooked up and album covers on tap. So
Yep, sounds good.
Falling on deaf ears.
But yeah, even back then, the Muppets they had nailed down. Like everybody stops talking, and she's just like, a beautiful friend. Anyway, okay. Deaf Ears 1.
This is First Draft, an instant before the promise of dawn. First Draft struck me initially as an odd name for a band this technically impressive, blending melodic rock textures with intense post-hardcore eruptions, shifting time signatures, while crafting potent lyrics packed with vivid imagery and uncomfortable truths. I remember my high school French teacher claiming that if you compliment a French woman's dress, even if it's brand new, she'll deflect it with something like, "This old thing, I only wear it when I don't care how I look." My teacher's sweeping generalizations aside, I don't think simple humility explains this band's name. It may instead echo the French idea of ébauche, something intentionally unfinished yet already expressive. In that artistic tradition, the unfinished can feel alive, still breathing. And ébauche isn't sloppy. Its rawness carries its own charm, and there's respect for the initial creative spark. On this French duo's second full length, an instant before the promise of dawn, my dad always said it's darkest before the dawn, which suggests we're starting from a very shadowed place. We get 7 tracks, most in the 4 to 5 minute range, with the closing piece stretching past 7.
Agnostalgic was the first track that really stuck with me. Credit for that cool word bash. Instant intrigue. It reminded me of old photos of my ex before our inevitable blow up. Smiling faces, yet the sky behind us was already heavy with storm clouds. Bittersweet feels too cute a word for it. It's more like shaking your head and thinking, that poor sap has no idea. But the track itself moves far beyond simple ex-photo dread. It's politically philosophical, exploring history rewritten or misinterpreted and the dark power that can come from those distortions. Clayman Duham coaxes some notes as smeary as eyeliner after a night out that slowly start to form a sighish melody, and Maureen Arnoux snare taps channel nervous like a fingernail biter. Arnoux settles into a slower tap with a chance of scattering cymbals as Duham jangles a high, discursive refrain. Arnoux's vocals are smooth as a satin dress that hugs curves perfectly with just a hint of scratch from the crinoline underneath that peeks out here and there.
The crinoline is the scratchy thing underneath your
Dudes, you're not going to know what it is. Just don't worry about it. Just don't even. Check out the bass sending buoyant, shimmering notes that just hang in the air like a gull riding the ocean breeze as Arnoux's drums slowly run out of steam. Her vocals are the definition of poetry in motion, lingering briefly on each note before hopping to the next. Lines like a drive-by down memory lane. The whole world will gaze away. I'm wide-eyed before an army. No one can recollect. Are cooed like a dove, but land like a punch. Let's hear a little bit of Agnostalgic.
The drums shift into a slow jazz tap. Duham's bass throbs a steady monotone pulse, then slides into a light jangly riff. Arnoux's sticks fall with measured precision as her vocals grow more urgent, desperate, feverish. The bass responds in kind, rapid-fire notes blurring together as Arnoux holds one long, aching yowl over the din. Finally, the track clears a summit, bass bursts into quick riffs, plaintive melodies trailing behind, while the drums simmer at a low, contemplative boil. Another standout is My Courage is Prey. It opens with organ-like sustained tones, flickering like candlelight. Arnoux's vocals hover softly, touched with a faint echo, drifting over the sound in a gentle, boy-like sway. The lyrics lean heavily on nautical imagery, drifting vessels, storm-blurred horizons, all mirroring the slow realization that a relationship or even a sense of self has unexpectedly run aground.
Steve adores.
No Steve.
No Steve.
No Steve.
And rats.
Our news drums start adding a repeated flurry of taps. Duham's bass mills around with a sulky feel.
The track starts to open in earnest with everything taking a brisk uptake in tempo, bass turning into an alt-rock jangle. Mid-track, the bass vibrates out to a hum before starting a moody, waterlogged chord strum that reminds me a bit of Duel. When the vocals tumble softly back in, drum silence, the effect is mesmerizing and haunting. By the time the drums pounce back in and the bass riffs bunch, it's like snapping out of a trance. By track's end, our news vocals feel more desperate and hurried. Now I've seen your world below, where I wasn't meant to go, but now I'm brave enough to know when I'll have to let it go. I really hope it doesn't snow.
Except for that last one.
That's not important to the story. Anyway, as the bass drums also reach a fever pitch, drums, sticks flying. Paralysis Kingdom is my favorite track. It's a blunt force indictment of harassment culture and the mental gymnastics society performs to excuse it. The lyrical scope touches everything from date rape discourse to high-profile abuse scandals to the everyday violation of the unsolicited dick pic. Yes, gentlemen, most women recoil at every single one. It still registers as an intrusion, an attack, not a compliment. The track wastes no time musically. Arnold comes in pounding hard enough to crack rims while the bass hums beneath like gathering momentum. After an off-kilter slide, Duam settles into a repeating doot-doot-doot run of bleeping bass notes that reminded me of my other favorite guitarless duo, Year of the Cobra, before shifting into a low, restless cycle of chord changes. Arnu is still a songbird, but now an angry one, spilling out quick words in pecks, then elongating ends of phrases, all the while smacking out an unabated patter.
I love the sideways drum time signature and bass warp that sets up the choruses. Then come the quoted excuses society keeps recycling, crooned at top volume. You should have fought back. You should have fled. You should have kept your head down, babe. What were you wearing on this day? It's deliberately uncomfortable and meant to be. The drums intensify, strikes coming faster before settling back into a steady pulse beneath the verses. Duam slips into a surf-tinged bass passage worthy of a spy film intro before the rage surges back with crashing percussion. By the conclusion, Arnu's voice cracks with emotion, nearly screaming. A first draft isn't finished. It's evolving. That fits perfectly with the album's themes of anticipation, social tension, and emotional unrest, like a story still unfolding with the ending intentionally left open. A first draft exists right before revision, refinement, dawn breaking. See what I did there? In that liminal space, the bass and drums setup becomes a surprisingly expansive canvas for emotional nuance, shifting fluidly between tension and vulnerability. The moment before dawn can feel bleak, but there's always that faint glow on the horizon hinting that change and a new day remain possible. It's a thoughtful, emotionally charged record that lingers long after the final notes fade. And honestly, who really needs a final copy stamp when the energy of becoming is this compelling?
Let's play a song. This is Paralysis Kingdom. All right, that first two.
This is Desert Collider, Generation Ship, Endless Drifts Through Infinity. I was thrilled to see a stoner band from an Italian Four Pieces promo float into my inbox. I'm a sucker for fuzz so thick it could carry your coffee cup off the subwoofer, and Italian bands always seem to sprinkle just the right amount of delightful weirdness around the edges. Signpost up ahead. Next stop, space rock with a lick-a-toad trip, then a sideways whoosh straight through the Twilight Zone. Spoiler alert, Desert Collider's debut, Generation Ship, Endless Drift Through Infinity, delivers. The concept nods to a Robert A. Heinlein Orphans of the Sky, where a crew drifts in space so long that Earth has become a fairy tale, as distant as blurry memories of knights and dragons are to today. There's spaghetti western tension woven into the riffs, storytelling through music, the way Ennio Morricone might have scored a sci-fi flick. And those blippy synth passages totally feel like Yip Yip Martians accidentally floating in from Sesame Street, going yip yip nope 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 nope.
Yep.
While trying to communicate with guitars that are already laying down crushing grooves. The end result is cosmic, heavy, gloriously absurd, and exactly what the riff doctor ordered. We get 8 tracks, mostly in the 5 to 7 minute range, with 2 sprawling epics tipping into the 10-minute territory. Enough time to let you marinate in the riffs until you're fully brined.
It's immediately clear why track 5 is called Thumper with 3 R's. Federico Costanzo's guitar buzzes like rolling R, slammed through a wah pedal, sticky, sparkling dark, frothing like Mentos dropped into a 2-liter of Coke. Manuel Calucci's bass drips notes like the same Coke drops hitting cement, while Andrea Casagrande's hi-hat smashes, snare smacks, and tom rolls provide a theatrical punctuation. Right before the vocals kick in, guitar and bass lock horns and chug so infectious, to my delight, it gleefully resurfaces between verses. Costanzo's vocals float REM, stage, sleep, echoey, with grit, sometimes layered, sometimes dueling, as Gianfanti weaves his voice into the mix. Colucci's bass moves like a smooth gear shift, perfectly complementing Costanzo's green shag carpet fuzz, notes that bop and hop, guaranteed to get your hands in the air and your butt wagging. A little past mid-track, everything dissolves into TV static, with distant guitar plucking rough, hairy notes like the coffee beans swirling in a grinder. Slowly, a melody emerges, each note run punctuated with teasing pauses. The bass and drums return in loping, driving grooves, bringing the track back to cruising speed while Costanzo's guitar continues its bubbling narrative. For the end of this sonic ride, Gianfanti adds some swishing synths to the layers that fly in and out with pulsing dark orb energy. Let's hear a little bit of Thumper.
Rrr. Nebuchadnezzar grabbed me immediately. Andrea Casagrande opens up with sprightly drumming, rapid snare, and kick patterns punctuated by hi-hat barks, laying down the foundation all on his own. Manuel Calucci soon joins with a wobbling bass full of sass, while Federico Costanza's guitar feedback squalls in, rumbling forward like the Barracuda guitar surge, only sped up and drowned in distortion waves. Costanzo and Gianfanti's vocals ride spacey delays, gritty and sometimes melding like reflections in a funhouse mirror. Tempos accelerate for the choruses and ease between verses, letting each instrument breathe. That guitar line is endlessly dynamic, while the bass bobs and weaves its burbling magic, flitting like a dark butterfly through the mix. Costanzo takes his guitar through a stroll through the wah park with a warping, whining solo. A feedback hum halts the chaos briefly, but Calucci steps in with a bass solo as meaty and salty as crisp bacon. Soon the groove locks back in, a guitar surges and drums resuming their pop smash pattern, while distant voices float atop it all, murmuring "oh" like ghosts fading by track's end.
I think my favorite track is Floating Space Hand. I mean, who wouldn't want one of those? You could tell Federico Costanzo never lets his wah pedal get dusty. He kicks things off with 3 quick, distorted lurches, followed by a long wah-ah straight out of the Caius handbook. The kind of note that practically forces a mid-chest air guitar flitter. His vocals sit deep in an echo chamber, rough around the edges like they've been aged in cigarette smoke. When Andrea Casagrande storms in with that mid-pace drum thwack, Manuel Calucci thickens the plot underneath, bass dancing dirty with groove, swagger, and a little side-eye. Meanwhile, Federico Gianfanti layers in synth tones that carry a triumphant Prague horn feel, while the rhythm section rolls forward, delightfully thick, low-end filth that lingers like a dust cloud following Pigpen. Near the end, there's that brief pause where the vocals hang alone in the air before swaggy guitar melody, snare crack, and cymbal splash crash back in, coating everything in fuzz, thicker than a long day picking peaches. Desert Collider roll out seriously solid debut via Small Stone Recordings, and it sounds like a caravan of distortion crossing the night sky while reality quietly blurs the edges. You can hear DNA threads from Lowrider, Monster Magnet, and Yawning Man, but it sure feels like a fresh take in these 90s desert forerunners. The end result is gritty, spacey, and impossible not to move to, with a bonus dose of sci-fi atmosphere. Go soak in the cinematic fuzz nebula. Just keep an eye out. You never know when the yip yip Martians might drift by trying to communicate with your speakers or your telephone. Let's hear Floating Space Hand. Okay, Deaf Ears 3 is the new album from Lesbian, Bed Death, Satan's Cellar. So this woman and I, we've been doing this for a while now, and I'm still quite shocked occasionally by the okay with subtle artists. No videos, no interviews, no PR person, hardly any social media activity. It's like they don't realize that they're competing with literally everyone. People want it all nowadays. Exciting visuals, incredible music, eye-catching performances, snacks, you name it.
Ever think about classic rock artists and how they would fare in today's internet-fueled, doom-scrolling, everything bores me environment? Don Fagen and Walter Becker didn't like touring, so they stopped. The dudes in Supertramp actually had a sugar daddy in the early days that was a Dutch millionaire. The band's stars had good looks, songwriting chops, support from Kiss's manager Bill Aucoin, and major world tours with everyone from Foghat to Ted Nugent. They folded after 4 years. And then there are the bands that get it. It's go big or go home, people. Sick and Beautiful. They get it. The Lords have tried it. Yup, them too. Well, we can add Lesbian Bed Death to the list, judging from Satan's Cellar, which just dropped this week on Psychophonic Records. They're Snaggletooth alumni. Be sure to check out our interview with them from a couple of years ago. We cover everything from Justin Hawkins to the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. So go check that out.
Were you guys on the bridge at 3 o'clock in the morning? I mean, how crazy was that? Remember that?
Yes.
No, we weren't partying on the Key Bridge at 3 a.m. It seems that the lineup has finally stabilized. 2 new members of the band are making their debut here, lead guitarist Ali Vicious and the new bass player Effie. Magnificently produced by their evil mastermind, Dan Peach, this is Lesbian Bed Death's 10th full-length offering, and there's 10 songs crammed in with all the gothy, metallic, witchy, horror-obsessed goodies we can handle. Styles range from all-out crunching metal to gothy anthems and even some dancey fare. Plus, scanning over titles like Switchblade Valentine and Cry Me a River of Blood make it apparent that Mr. Peach has not lost his knack for kitschy fare. Divine Parasite is a good specimen to start the discussion, kicking off with a gallopy riff that swells, fades, and stutter steps nimbly against Effie's warm bass lines and lots of fretboard gymnastics from Vicious to sink our fangs into. And just when you think you're safe after the final lead and an introspective vocal bit from JJ, Dan busts out a riff that gets all Megadeth on our asses. Pure headbangers delight. Let's hear a little bit. This is Divine Parasite. comic romance is an interesting change of pace. Danceable fare for the rave room, almost an 80s meets Gaga vibe with heavy guitars. The masterfully titled Exorcisters continues the Mustaine-informed riffing, with drummer Amy Violet showing off her thrashy chops. According to Dan, this one's about the kind of friends that always have your back. You know, the types that would never put the empty milk container back in the fridge or leave the toilet seat up in the middle of the night. Actually, Dan didn't say any of that. That was me, the last part, but this is not important to the review. Anyway, you go ahead.
Truth be told, they may not ever eclipse the opener of the Midnight Horror Show. As Dan says, it's nice to open an album with a song that defines the band. He's not lying. JJ sounds incredibly confident, and her delivery of the chorus is luscious. This one's packed with killer riffs that flash and burn, and even the occasional whoa, plus the sort of mellow break around the bridge that slams into a double time feel, setting up the solo. I was headbanging so fiercely, my upside down cross pendant got wedged in my ear.
Not lying,
The
people.
things I do for you people.
We're not lying, people.
In other news, Dan made a movie. That's right, he GoFunded his way to a blood-soaked rock and roll flick of historical proportions. Find out more at satancellar.com. And in the meantime, get over to Lesbian Bed Death's Bandcamp page and snag a copy of this marvelous CD. Go big or go home, people. Let's play a clip. This is The Midnight Horror Show.
And there it is. How do I untangle myself from LinkedIn? I want a divorce.
Occasionally, they'll send me an email that I have notifications, and if I log in, there are no notifications. I think they just want you to log in. I don't get it.
No, I don't get it.
Also, another bad part about that is it thinks you want to connect with your old annoying coworkers. Like you want to you're no longer coworkers, and you're probably very glad for that.
I had this job like when I was like, I don't know, in my early 30s, where I had to like clean house. Like I fired a lot of people at that place because they were all stupid, right? All those people wanted to be LinkedIn friends later.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be friends with someone that fired you?
Well, that's like, Facebook friend requesting your ex. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't-
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to John from Nuclear Dudes for appearing on the show. Also, shout out to Liz from Ear Split. Snaggletooth themes courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebomb. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 4 artwork courtesy of KC Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. Deaf Ears bands, get over there and check them out. First Draft, Desert Collider, which album isn't out yet, but soon, and Lesbian Bed Death. All content 2026, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
God, this picture's so good. What do you mean we're going into orbit?
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Stay limp like gimp, keep crimped. Stay limp. When they show you their thighs, da-da-da-da-da, don't let it rise. Stay limp. Avoid excitation, distract erectile action, veto reaction, and keep your trousers snaking.